Hello everyone, this is John D. Riley, researcher with Zero Point Research. Today is March the 9th, 2011 actually it's 4:44 p.m. Pacific time. And it's been very interesting what's been happening in the last 48 hours with the solar activity, and also when we're looking at today being the ninth gateway to the Mayan calendar. We start looking at the significance of what has been happening. But within the last 48 hours to 72 hours, we've had tremendous amount of solar activity. We had probably about 14 or 15 coronal mass ejections happening from the sun. Some of them Earth-facing, some of them not, but the tremendous amount of energy that has been shown has been really, really interesting, and we have to really kind of take light of the significances of what is actually consciously at the time that we are looking at. This is kind of specific, and it's very difficult for me to share from just the conscious aspect of it, but when we look at the science. What's more important today is that it being the 9th, we actually received an X-ray class flare. Now when we look at this event that's happening here, this is actually an Earth-facing event. This is almost approximately dead on to our planet. If we were actually going to get the full brunt of a coronal mass ejection, it would actually be about here. But this wave, as you can see, just the intensity of it itself, the way it actually diffracts the sensors on the satellite. Now this is going to be one of the waves that we talked about in regards to the shift in human consciousness. Now everything that has been happening in the last 72 hours has been precursors. We've noticed so much has been happening within our physical selves, our emotional selves, our mental selves, our spiritual selves. And we have to look at it deeply because it's all about bringing it up to the surface, allowing what no longer serves to be eliminated. It's literally as simple as that. We are choosing, what is very difficult to explain, is our timelines of choice within our own realities. And we have to look, and we have to, at this point in time, it's very important that we look at our own passions and desires and what we truly want in this life. We can't allow anything else of what people say that you should be doing, what belief structures or illusions saying that this is what you need to be. It's about time. It's all about the time to get in touch with the self, with our trueness, our passion, and our desires of what we are here to do, what we choose in our own lives. This is going to make a big difference in regards to the way things will be in the next few days. Now this is because we're literally almost putting ourselves into a rites of passage. And what frequency that we will vibrate at is going to dictate the level of our reality. This might be difficult for some, but also you might get this right away in regards to the meaning of it. Because what we think is what we get. And we have to understand this. So the amazing, what's happening energetically on this planet is unlike anything that has happened in thousands of years. And the science is having a hard time keeping up with it because they are doing it from a science standpoint. And when we understand it from the conscious aspect, this is where it gets really interesting. When we can feel these energy events happening right when they're happening on the sun, before the secondary event 2 to 3 days later. This is where it gets very interesting to understand our solar connection, also our solar consciousness. And this is where it gets really fascinating. So bringing alert to the M-class flare, if you want to look at it from a energetic standpoint, this is today when we look at universal coordinated time. This is the X-ray flux, as you can see, and this is like a 5-minute data of the event that happened, and all of a sudden we had a huge spike. It actually jumped up to 10 to the negative 4. So that is significant. This has been active for quite a while. Now we're seeing some pretty powerful events. Now I wanted you to look at the events. This is actually a 3-day event cycle of what's been happening on the sun. And it's just going to go ahead and run the actual film of the 3 days. And this will actually show you some of the prominent ejections that happened from the sun. As you can see, we had that one, then we had a secondary event. After this one triggered, then we'll see this one blast, and then that was a big one, and then this one caused that to go off, and then this to go off, and this is all happening in sequence right behind each other. And there's that. That was a very definable event that was near Earth facing. So we'll be getting the wave of that tomorrow. So this is where we are kind of getting to realize what's happening, and then the alignment of us as we approach this particular time in the universe. or this particular position in the universe. It's been talked about. The Mayans actually almost had this down to a conscious math, and they were able to specify it. What does it mean to us? That is up to you. We're going to make the decisions of how we want to see our world, how we're going to want to see our consciousness, our reality. And I utterly, if you choose the path, is just to allow. It's just to allow your true self and your true desires to come forth at this point in time. This is the time of absolute magnificence on this planet. And if we choose, each one of you, we can actually see beauty happen on this, because it is all about unity consciousness. Do we understand what unity consciousness means? Well, when we look at the deep understanding of what is missing, when we look at the messages, even the great pyramids in Egypt, and we still look at how could they have possibly built these, when we realize that it had to happen from a unity standpoint, a collective consciousness understanding, if we can even embrace that in our thoughts, that we are part of something greater, and that comes to our surface within our realization, and we can see it before us and go, oh my gosh, if I open myself up and I step into that and I become a part of it, this is what will come forth. Now, when we have the ability to see that from a unity consciousness standpoint, it changes everything in our lives. We no longer struggle for the financial gain, the material aspects of the self, of the illusion. We will see that we are planting the seeds that are going to germinate for our children and our children's children. And this is where it's getting really amazing. More to come, but I wanted you to just breathe deep and kind of just open up and realize we're at a beautiful time on this planet. Let's just allow our higher selves and allow our higher capability within our own reality to come forth. Be the change that you want to see in the world. This is what it's all about. This is the divining time. More to come.